What's going on, guys? Josh Never Plays is back for another video. Now, there's no real easy way to sum this up, so I'll just say that just recently I've gotten into the Soulsborne series. I started by playing Dark Souls 3 a few months ago. I played through that completely, and then when Dark Souls Remastered came out, I actually bought that, and recently just finished playing through that game as well. I have to say that both these games were extremely thrilling to play, and probably one of the most fun experiences I've ever had in the entire gaming universe. It's a shame that I didn't decide to upload videos or live stream when I played this game because, you know, it's kind of weird when I just come out of the blue and make a ranking video like this, but I think the most interesting part of this experience is the bosses, so I thought that I would go ahead and make a ranking video by ranking all of the bosses in Dark Souls Remastered from easiest to hardest. Couple of fair warnings. First of all, this is my opinion and my opinion only, so if you disagree with me, that is strongly encouraged because honestly there's a lot of room for different playstyles in these games, and I think that has a strong effect on whether or not you find a boss to be difficult or not. The other thing I want to point out is that I did not actually capture footage of me playing through this entire game, only some of the boss fights, which is unfortunate. Because like I said, I'm going to be ranking all of the bosses in this video, but some of them, unfortunately, we're just going to have images in the background because I did not record my gameplay of beating them. So let's go ahead and kick things off with number 25, which is Pinwheel. This is an opinion that I think you can't really argue with, because, I mean, pretty much no matter what you do, as long as you're attacking right when the fight starts, this guy is dead in like 15 seconds. Pretty much all he does is clone himself a few times and then shoot fireballs at you every once in a while that do minimal damage, so as long as you're not dragging your feet and just standing back, this guy should be a cakewalk. Number 24 is the Asylum Demon. Now you would hope that when you start a game like this that they would give you a sort of tutorial boss so that way you can kind of grasp the reins before, you know, they throw the really hard bosses at you, and that's exactly what the Asylum Demon is designed for. To be fair, he does have a few strong moves with his hammer when he swings it down at you, but in all honesty, it's all really easy to avoid, and he doesn't have that much health, so it's really not that difficult of a fight. I think it's a great introduction to the game, though, and does give you some opportunity to kind of, you know, learn basic evasion strategies when you're trying to get away from a big enemy such as himself. Number 23, Moonlight Butterfly. This boss really likes to tease melee players by basically flying around for 95% of the fight and not letting you get any hits in whatsoever. He'll spend the majority of his flying time shooting basic spells at you. Some of them are hard to avoid, so make sure you kindle the bonfire to 10 Estus flasks. The first time I fought this boss, I was really shitty at dodging the spells, and I only brought 5 Estus with me, and I ran out and died pitifully. Occasionally, the butterfly will actually land on the platform that you fight it on and rest its wings, and that's when you get your attacks in. So make sure you two-hand your weapon when this occurs, because you'll end this fight a lot quicker and avoid dying the way I did. Number 22, Taurus Demon. Now this guy intimidated the shit out of me when I walked into the arena, and I actually died because I didn't kill the archers that are on the tower next to the fight. You're going to want to do that first, because this early in the game, you don't have a whole lot of Estus, and you don't want to be using them or getting staggered because the archers are shooting you. With all that said, this guy is pretty much a buffed Asylum Demon. He has a few different attacks, and he also has a lot more health, but there's actually a really easy strategy to quick kill him. Basically, when you walk into the boss entrance, you want to go up the ladder to the tower that's directly behind you, jump down, hit him with a plunging attack, and then rinse and repeat. Number 21, Gaping Dragon. Now this thing looks like an absolute monstrosity, and it doesn't really live up to that. Now, the dragon's attacks mostly consist of a few slamming attacks, one where he'll jump into the air. Basically, you just want to walk around him in circles, and when he jumps into the air, you want to back up and stay away from him. You'll want to watch out for that tail attack that he just did to me there in the video, but to be honest, he didn't do that a whole lot to me, and you can also cut the tail off, and that renders it completely useless, so just something to know. Overall, really easy boss. The one attack I forgot to mention is that walking attack that he does right there in the video. Don't get caught up in front of that, because that does a shitload of damage, but it's pretty easy to avoid unless you're standing right in front of him, which I advise not to, but yeah, pretty easy. Number 20, Iron Golem. This is another boss that hits really hard, but his attacks are pretty easy to avoid. The only one that's really that threatening is his grab attack, so you want to watch out for that. Also, if you enjoy or if you like to use the focus cam, make sure you watch out for the edges of the area, because the one time that I died, the boss didn't actually kill me. I rolled off of the edge on accident because I was using the focus camera. Other than that, the best advice I can give you is to just stand behind him, try to get behind him whenever possible, and just hack away at his ankles, and eventually he'll stagger and give you a chance to get a lot more damage in, because this guy does have a rather large health pool. Number 19, Crossbreed Priscilla. I actually felt kind of bad for killing this boss, because she does give you the option to skip past her, and she doesn't really want to fight you. I don't actually remember what you can trade her soul in for, but I went ahead and killed her just for the purposes of this video. So Priscilla doesn't have a whole lot of health, and her attacks don't deal a whole lot of damage, but she does have the advantage of turning invisible, and you have to actually track her by looking at her footprints. But other than that, this fight was really a cakewalk for me. I suppose if you run and try to do this right as you're going through Anne Orlando, this could be a lot harder, but for me, it was basically just, tracking her down, maybe taking 1 or 2 hits, and then just mashing away and going through it. Number 18, Dark Sun Gwendolin. This is a fight that was very meh for me, because it tried to do something new by having this long corridor that you basically chase the boss through. It's basically a waiting game, and I got greedy a few times, and I did pay for it by dying twice, but this boss really isn't that difficult. You can basically take cover behind the pillars while he's doing his spells, but there is one giant spell attack that you have to evade from. Other than that, though, you really just want to wait for him to pull out his bow and try to hit you with the arrows, because he's not very accurate, and that's when you can really jump up there and get some damage in before he teleports further down the corridor. Definitely not a difficult boss, but it can be a little challenging if you're greedy like I was. Number 17, Capra Demon. Boy, do I feel lucky getting through Capra Demon on my first try. I had heard about this boss before and how you have to fight him in a tiny-ass arena with a couple dogs running around, staggering you and causing you to die very quickly. First thing you're going to want to do is take out the dogs, because I did that at first, and I'm honestly pretty lucky I survived, because I think I had like a sliver of health left before I was able to get away from the dogs and heal. Once you take out the dogs, it's a lot like the Asylum Demon or the Taurus Demon, except he's a lot smaller and more agile, so a little bit of different playstyle there, but really not that difficult. You just gotta watch out for those damn dogs. Number 16, Demon Fire Sage / Stray Demon. These two guys are almost identical, which is a damn shame, because you already have to fight the stupid Asylum Demon, and the only thing these guys really add is buffed health and attacks, and of course they have this stupid AoE attack that can demolish your health if you're not careful. Honestly, that's the only difficult part about fighting these guys, and you can pretty much block it. You'll take a little bit of damage, but they give you lots of time after that to get some attacks in. I'm really struggling to think of anything else I can really say about these guys, so I guess just treat them like slightly buffed Asylum Demons that have AoE attacks. That's really all there is to it. Number 15, Centipede Demon. It's a shame this fight wasn't a little more fun, because he's a very cool looking boss. Yes, I would consider this fight to be slightly difficult, because number 1, you're stuck fighting him on a tiny ass platform with lava surrounding you, so if you get knocked into that, you're basically fucked. Number 2, half the time he just stands in the lava like 20 feet away from you, literally just striking you with his arms and then backing off so you don't have any time to get in attacks. And if you do manage to get him on the platform that you're standing on, good luck seeing what the hell you're doing, because this guy's so fucking huge that he blocks the damn camera half the time. That being said, standing by his back legs makes this fight pretty damn easy. I just think it's a lot of wasted opportunity. Just a little warning that we have not seen the last of my rants on Dark Souls bosses in the Demon Ruins. Number 14, Seath the Scaleless. I'll give them credit for making this a very unique area to fight him in, and the boss looks so bizarre, particularly from the waist down. Oh, yeah, there is a stupid little gimmick to this fight where you have to go destroy this little crystal thing in the back of the room, and that's so that he doesn't regenerate health as you're trying to kill him. I've found that the best strategy is to honestly just walk around him in circles, keep him turning, and he doesn't attack for the most part when you do this. I found it pretty easy to just heal through his crystal attacks, but if he does the thing where he swings his tentacles around, get away, because that attack actually did kill me one time. Number 13, the Great Grey Wolf Cinder. This actually would have been a very enjoyable fight for me, if it didn't involve killing a dog. In particular, one that's just trying to protect his companion's honor. Sif's basic sword swinging attacks are actually pretty easy to avoid. The one that you really want to watch out for is the one where he spins around in a circle, because you can't block it first of all, and second of all, it will eat away at most likely 2/3 or more of your health. I quickly found that the safest place to be is right under his front legs. Once you're there, just hack away at him and watch out when he does the spinning attack. This is another boss fight that isn't too difficult, but if you get greedy, you can be punished pretty heavily. Number 12, Ceaseless Discharge. I hate this boss more than any other boss in a Souls game that I have played so far. Disgusting name, disgusting appearance, and an even more disgusting implication of what he's attacking you with. Yeah, so for this super awesome fight, you basically have to stand back on a ledge and bait this guy's giant arm swings. And when he doesn't do that, he will be attacking you with these giant fire beams that are like impossible to avoid. Yeah, if you kindle the hell out of the Demon Ruins bonfire, this is really not that difficult of a fight, but you really just have to tank the hits and chug Estus, which I don't like. This guy is just stupid and difficult for no reason. To be fair, I did warn everybody that I would be ranting about more bosses in the Demon Ruins, but thank God we are almost done with that. Number 11, Sanctuary Guardian. I think it's safe to say that none of the DLC bosses in this game are easy per se, but if I had to pick one that was easiest, it would be the Sanctuary Guardian. I honestly played this boss very sloppily, and I feel pretty lucky to have made it out alive. I would mostly just tank most of his hits, except for some of the lightning ones I would try to evade through, but I tried to lure him out of the water so I wasn't slow walking, and that was a not so great of an idea because then he ended up pinning me against a wall, and I just mashed at it for the YOLO kill. Yeah, this boss is very agile and doesn't give you a lot of openings to attack, so that's why I think, since he doesn't do a whole lot of damage in most of his attacks, you can just tank through it and do what I did. Number 10, Bell Gargoyles. This was the fight to me, and I think a lot of others as well, that it was kind of like the first one that you really struggle with in the game, because before that you pretty much just have the Asylum Demon, the Taurus Demon, Capra Demon, and other fights like that. I'll be honest, I think the thought of 2 gargoyles attacking me at once kind of intimidated me, and for that reason I got a little greedy. Most of the times that I actually died, when the second gargoyle came in, I would just keep mashing at the first one and get totally destroyed by his fire breath. One at a time these guys are a piece of cake, but when you put them both together, things get a little bit more difficult. I would say after this boss, we are getting into the category that I would consider to be the most difficult category of bosses in Dark Souls. Number 9, Four Kings. Now, I feel like my opinion might be a little biased on this one, because I actually went and did New Londo Ruins. I can't remember exactly when I did it, but it was definitely well after I discovered it. Regardless, I knew I wouldn't just be seeing one king for long, so what I basically did is traded damage for most of this fight, and just whacked at this guy as much as I could. And to be honest, it didn't seem like they did a whole lot of damage with my vigor level. There were even a few instances where there would be more than one king on the screen at once, and I still thought this fight was not that bad. Maybe it's because they're fairly slow at coming towards you when you're fighting another one. From my experience, the kings only have 2 attacks that are really that dangerous, and one of them is the grab attack that he's doing right now. The other one is the one where he shoots that spell at you and it actually homes in on you. You're going to want to just block that and take some damage for it, because it's pretty much impossible to avoid. Other than that, just keep your DPS up and you should be just fine in this fight. Number 8, Gwen, Lord of Cinder. When I found out that this guy's weakness was parrying, I basically dreaded going into this fight because I hadn't really used parrying as a strategy against anything in this game previously, including PvP. Now, even with that in mind, I thought this fight was not too bad, because I was able to consistently parry Gwen, and this is my first attempt that I'm playing in the background here. Because of my unexpected success, I think I got a little cocky though, and I started missing my parries, and that's when he kind of started comboing me to oblivion, and I actually died, and he was probably like 3 hits or like 1 parry away from death, which kind of sucks. That being said, I found it a lot easier my second time going in because I wasn't all nervous about the fight. I think one of the reasons this guy is so much easier than he should be is probably because he telegraphs his attacks so well. Like, too much telegraphing can be a bad thing for me because I don't know when the swing is coming, but too little can be not good as well. But I feel like this guy is like, he telegraphs it just at the right time so that I know when to swing my shield. Still a very epic final boss regardless. Number 7, Bed of Chaos. So I promise this is the last boss I'm going to rant about from Demon Ruins, which he technically is. This boss, much like Ceaseless Discharge, is just fucking annoying. I think it would be a lot more difficult if it didn't save your progress once you die. In fact, I feel like that could make it the most difficult boss in this game, because this guy loves to make giant holes in the floor and then sweep your ass into them. I mean, at least they were trying to do something different, but still, this is not a platforming game, and I did not particularly enjoy running to each side of the area just to destroy some core and then get swept to my death once again. Also, I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's almost impossible to evade through the sweeping attacks because they take forever to actually happen, and they kind of drag you along with them rather than knock you down. Number 6, Chaos Witch Quelaag. This is actually one of 2 bosses in this game that I had to summon help for. Now, I know, you shouldn't really be able to judge a boss adequately if you summon phantoms to help you kill it. But every time I fought this spider lady thing, I got real close to killing it and just got pissed off when I died. Particularly when I died to this stupid-ass AoE attack. Does that mean I don't regret summoning help? No, it doesn't. I definitely regret doing that, especially since this boss is pretty easy if you can just trigger her attack where she just belches lava. You can just go right behind her and smack the ass. It's just the thing is that the other attacks and combos can be pretty difficult to avoid. Number 5, Gravelord Nito. Now I know a lot of people found this boss to be pretty easy, but I did not. The footage you're watching right now is from my first attempt, and yeah, I kind of got cornered by the skellies and got absolutely raped whenever he did his AoE or sword swings, or really anything for that matter. I think there's a lot of different strategies you can use to try to kill this guy, but I think the most reliable one is to stay in close to him so he doesn't do the sword through the ground attack, and rely on that AoE to kill all the skeletons for you, and it doesn't do a whole lot of damage if you block it and you have a decent amount of stamina, so you can kind of tank through it and attack. But the problem is, those fucking skeletons will revive almost instantly. Did I mention this guy can make you toxic? Yeah, Nito sucks. It must have taken me like 3 or 4 attempts before I could even get him below half health, which is kind of sad because a lot of people think this guy is easy, but I don't care. We all experience things differently in this game, and that's the glory of it. Number 4, Ornstein and Smo. This is a fight that I actually truly enjoyed. You can't say that about a lot of gang bosses in the Soul series, but these guys have almost perfect attributes to counter one another. The key is to obviously separate them. I like to kill Ornstein first because, well, he's faster, and if you go straight in and attack Smo, Ornstein's likely going to be there too, hitting you as well. My first attempt, what I was thinking was, okay, if I can just kill one of these guys, it'll get super easy, and I almost killed Ornstein in my first attempt. Little did I know, though, that as soon as I did, Smo would just absorb his energy and become an even stronger lightning version of his previous self. Even when I did finally beat this boss, I thought I was extremely lucky to get through it with only 7 attempts. Not only did I go through all of my Estus in just the first phase of the fight, but I also used 10 humanities to heal when Smo was attacking me in his second phase. This is an extremely difficult boss fight, and it tests your patience, but you better be patient, because if you can, you might be able to get that victory in 10 minutes, maybe 15. Yeah, it takes a long time to kill them both. But if you do, it's extremely satisfying, and to some, it's the highlight of the Dark Souls experience entirely. Oh, this is such a good boss fight. Number 3, Black Dragon Kalame. Before this guy, I hadn't really faced many other dragon foes in the Souls series, except for the Ancient Wyvern in Dark Souls 3, and yeah, that was a little underwhelming. This fight, on the other hand, is pretty damn difficult. The most challenging aspect of this Wyvern for me is the amount of health he has. He has an enormous health pool. This dude will definitely give you times to heal and attack, but it's pretty easy to run out of your Estus flasks if you're not careful and really conservative with your attacking. I managed to pull out the win on my 7th try, but I had 0 Estus left and about half of my health, so it was pretty close. Any fire resistance you can get during this fight will help you a lot, because his fire attacks have a lot of range, and the main idea is to stay close to him when he's not using his fire attacks, so you can get caught off guard with that sometimes. Yeah, this guy's pretty damn difficult, but I think he would be a lot easier if he had slightly less health. Number 2, Manus, Father of the Abyss. I'll just start by saying that this guy is relentless. It is so hard to find times to heal during this fight, and his combos feel like they never end. Combine that with his enormous size and strength, and you pretty much have Manus in a nutshell. Oh, I guess I better not forget that, like all the other DLC bosses, he has a ton of health. Some of his attacks, to be fair, don't do a lot of damage, but the one you really want to watch out for is the magic one that he just killed me with. Most of his sweep and slam attacks are pretty easy to avoid, except some of them have longer windups than it appears they do. That's something I struggled with a lot when I first started playing this guy. But as you can see, by my 12th attempt, I was able to beat this guy when he was down to like maybe a sixth of his health left, and I had to do it completely with just a sliver of my health left and no Estus. Talk about a close call. This was definitely one of my more proud moments in Dark Souls. And that brings us to number 1. The hardest boss in Dark Souls, in my opinion, is Knight Artorias. At this point in the game, I had done everything except for Gwen, and obviously the DLC, but I was so eager to get to him that after 13 attempts, I was stupid enough to summon help for this boss fight. But trust me, I'm confident after the first 12 attempts at putting this guy at number 1. He is truly one of the most difficult things I have ever faced in a video game. Artorias is fast, agile, extremely powerful, and sometimes I think it's difficult to read how long his windups are. I know, it's a little underwhelming for me to not have footage of the boss that I place as the hardest one in Dark Souls, and I apologize for that. I think at that point in my playthrough, I wasn't really positive if I was going to make this video or not. I was kind of just recording boss fights just for the hell of it. Besides, I'm not sure it'd be very entertaining to watch me try to kill this guy, because honestly, I don't think I got him below half health once until I actually summoned help. Now I'm curious. I love doing these rankings, so I want you guys to let me know in the comments what your list would be. Make sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more Dark Souls content in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.